So this is how I did it. Welcome to you, my name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. Ever since I got back from Paris and told the story about how I scored my Hermes Birkin in Vert Comics, isn't she glorious? A few people have been asking me in the comments of that video and my Q&A video, what do you do? How do you strike up a relationship with a sales associate? What are your hot tips in order to get what you want? I've just realised I'm not wearing my rings. I feel kind of naked. One moment. There we go. Just a little shout out to my nail tech. Look at these gorgeous little Christmas designs she did with chrome. I have builder on my nails and I asked her to do like a little Christmas star. So I thought they were cute with like a thin French. Very, very chic and just a little bit of the Christmas spirit. Look, the first thing I want to say right up front is me being offered an Hermes Birkin with no sales history, with no profile, and with pretty much not much interest in the brand besides a couple of pair of sandals and a bangle is a fluke. It's a fluke. Yes, I might have struck up a connection with the sales associate. Yes, that might have helped. Or some of you have some alternative theories that you've shared with me via the DMs on Instagram that I thought I would share here as well. But once I go through that, I'm just going to share with you my tips and tricks, what I do generally to, I guess, build and maintain relationships with sales associates. And it's pretty black and white. So in my video and in Meredith's video, we talked about the fact that it was a pretty interesting experience at the Hermes flagship in Paris, and the fact that I was offered a bag could have been put down to many things. So rather than give you some kind of clickbait thumbnail for this video, let's go through the reasons other than my sophisticated charm and ability to build strong relationships in a short period of time that I might have been offered this bag. One theory is that I was on a VIP appointment with a friend, and it is not unusual when accompanying a friend on a VIP appointment to the flagship store that you might be offered the opportunity for a bag. That's what I've been told in the comments and the DMs. It wasn't a unique situation, and that others, if not firsthand, had heard secondhand of similar things happening. So that could well be the case, and I'm sure that might have had something to do with it. The next theory I heard is that Hermes had done their background checks and knew that both Meredith and I had a social media presence, even though at the time both of us were sitting under 10,000 subscribers. And that because of that, they had a strategy in place to offer me a known dissenter of the Hermes journey and process, a bag, and that I would not be able to refuse such bag, and that I would put it on my social media channels, and by doing that I would give hope to all of you who have been playing around with the Hermes journey, who have been looking for the bag of their dreams, and by me getting one, I'm in fact helping Hermes sell all the other crap that you've got to buy in order to get one of these. That was called the unicorn offer, apparently. I don't know if that is like part of bag mythology in Hermes world or whatever, but it was news to me, so I thought I'd share it here. Another likely reason why I was offered a Birkin. This thing's getting heavy, by the way. So, you know, it's not lost on me that this is a situation that you don't hear of happening very often, at least in YouTube, but perhaps in the broader Hermes loving community, people talk about these things. I wouldn't know because I'm not part of it. But what I do want to share with you is some of the things that I think help contribute to building a relationship with a sales associate. Now, if you haven't seen my recent video, my thoughts on luxury, this might draw some context from that, so perhaps I'll link it in the description box below and you can go and watch it after this one. But I talk about the fact that luxury shopping is different. If we think that because we have money and because we show up on any given day and because we are ready to purchase, that means that we'll be welcomed into the store with open arms, that we'll be treated like royalty, that we'll be offered champagne and given fabulous hospitality and customer service. I think we're dreaming. Luxury shopping doesn't seem to be that simple. Luxury shopping is different, and I think the first tip that I would give you in terms of building a relationship is to recognize those differences. One thing that I learned, I guess, from wandering around the department stores in London is how accessible luxury is. That anybody can walk into a department store and go to the concessions and touch things and pick them up. They're all locked up and you can pick it up and kind of, drag it over to a mirror and see what it looks like. It's not like that here. And to be honest, I really didn't like the department store shopping experience at all. For me, the luxury shopping experience is about going into a bricks and mortar store, a standalone store, where it's branded, it's about the vibe, it's about the whole experience. That's what I prefer. So I prefer shopping on, say, New Bond Street in London, around the Spanish Steps in Rome, Avenue Montaigne, Saint Honoré in Paris. Le Bon Marché, I don't mind, but again, I wouldn't buy luxury there. I would still go to the stores, the standalone boutiques. And then here in Australia, again, I would shop Collins Street in Melbourne. I would shop, Pitt Street in Sydney, George Street. I would shop here, our Queen's Plaza. So I guess what I'm saying is luxury is different, and that's the first thing I would consider when you're wanting a great luxury shopping experience and to meet a sales associate. For me, it's about standalone boutiques. The second thing is making a connection and a contact so that you can get an appointment. So if you do want to strike up a relationship with a sales associate, my tip, go and do a reconnaissance mission. Pop into the store, say, I'd like to talk to someone about making an appointment for a piece or a bag or something I'm looking for in, whatever, a week's time, a couple of days' time, whatever. They'll be like, okay, yes, tell me what you're interested in. What are you looking for? They might be able to order things in. You'll have an appointment in place, and that is a commitment between you and the sales associate. That's not just dropping in and hoping by some virtue of the gods that they have the goods available, because you're setting yourself up for failure if you do that. It's best to give a heads up, and if you have an appointment, the sales associate is more likely to order things in for you to take a look at, because it seems like you're half serious. I think a lot of us like to go and vicariously live our best lives and go and try on a bunch of things with no intention of buying. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying don't expect to get good service when you do that, because sales associates are at work. They are paid based on a commission structure, and they're going to know you after you do that for quite a while and go, oh, that's someone who just likes to come in and play around and try things on. They're probably not going to know when you're actually serious about purchasing something, and therefore your opportunity to get the experience might be limited if you just wander in and do what you typically do instead of making an appointment. So for me, reconnaissance, make a connection, get their number, make an appointment for a few days or a week's time, tell them what you're after, and set yourself up for success. I have mentioned in previous videos that when I've had appointments to go and see, say, Louis Vuitton here, I've sat down, I've been offered a glass of champagne, and people opposite me have been waiting for their goods to be wrapped up. They've seen me with a glass of champagne, and their sales associate has come out with some orange juice and water. They've asked for champagne because I was having champagne, which was kind of awkward. And the sales associate actually said, usually we only offer champagne to clients who make appointments, who are on appointments, who we are hosting on appointment. And that was from the cat's mouth. So if you are not just wanting to take my word for it, that's what I heard. I know that not all boutiques operate in the same way, but I will take that as gospel because I heard it with my own ears, that is probably a highly likely reason as to why some people get different store experiences than others. Is it annoying that if the opportunity just takes you, you have the money, you see something you love and you walk in and you don't get all the bells and whistles from your luxury experience? Yeah, it is. It is annoying. Absolutely. But I think as a, what do we call ourselves? A seasoned luxury shopper, we should probably know better. And if you're not a seasoned luxury shopper, this is your kind of heads up to say, if you want these kind of experiences, it's probably best to do the groundwork first. And sometimes those impromptu shopping trips just don't deliver the goods as much as a planned trip. In saying that, there's always another side, which is having shopped London, Paris, Rome, had appointments, yes, but without having any relationship with a sales associate, had wonderful experiences. So, you know, you can be lucky and you can have those great experiences without having formed an established, you know, relationship with your sales associate. The next thing I would say is always ask for their contact number and ask how they like to be engaged with. Do they prefer email? Do they prefer text message? And be really consistent in how you connect with that person. Do you text? If you're not interested in something, say thanks for sharing, but this is not something that's really on my radar at the moment. Be really clear. Don't lead people on. Don't say, would you mind holding it for me? Can you let me think about it for a prolonged period of time? Because it's sales, right? Things move at a pace. So I think if you are wanting something, or when you get the first hint that you might be interested, send a text to your sales associate and say, I just saw a preview of the next season's drop. There's a couple of pieces I'm interested in. Can you keep me in mind when we get our store allocation? You can do things like that, and then you're working together. You have a relationship, as opposed to hoping to one day wander in and get what you want, and if it's not there, asking them to find it for you, because your chances of success are less likely in that case, especially here in Australia. And that's the next point I have on my list, is help them help you. Be really clear about what you want and what you don't want. Don't be afraid to say no. I was watching a video from Laura, the Camo Chica, and she said she'd turned down many offers from her Hermes sales associate because they weren't things that she wanted. And I think her point was it didn't harm the relationship because she was so honest and really clear in her communication. And I thought that was a really good point to raise. I think the other thing is, the thing that I learned from Hermes that perhaps helped build a relationship was to be curious and ask questions. I have been in Chanel boutiques where people have known a lot more than the Chanel sales advisor about the new collections and past collections, what's coming, what sizes things come in. And I think that has a tendency to be a little bit dangerous because, you know, it can kind of shift the relationship dynamic. In Hermes, I was asking our sales associate, you know, what do you think of the new collection? What do you think are the best the best pieces that you can get from Hermes? You know, how long have you been here? How many appointments do you have in a day? That must be exhausting for you. How do you keep energized throughout the day and those sorts of things? What time do you close? And I just asked questions about her and her interest in the brand that she was working for. My next point is probably likely to be a contentious one, but my view is be friendly, but not friends. The reason for that is, at the end of the day, it's a business relationship. And I think the more that you muddy the water between what is friendly, what is, you know, you can have personal relationships with people. But when it comes to being able to get things, missing out on things, getting allocated things and not, all of that puts a lot of strain on a relationship, especially when there's a dynamic at play. I'm much more comfortable with us being friendly with each other, but knowing that our friendship is based on this dynamic between me being a lover of a brand and pieces and that person working for that brand and us trying to, you know, find great pieces together. And I think that's okay. It's always nice to send a text and say thanks for your time at the end of the day. I am lucky that I have great people that I have worked with throughout Brisbane, Sydney, and across the world now. And I'm always so grateful that people take their time to communicate with me and to, I guess, work around some challenges that we might have. I really appreciate it, and I like to let people know. I don't buy gifts, I don't do anything like that, but I am always friendly and consistent and respectful of time. It is a job after all. At the end of the day, it's a job. And, you know, I'm not a professional shopper. I'm just a luxury enthusiast. And so I don't think I have any cause to ask somebody to treat me in a particularly special way because of that. So I think at the end of the day, my roundup is acknowledge first that luxury shopping is different. What kind of experience do you want? Set yourself up for that experience, and if it's anything like mine, you can follow the tips in this video. Be friendly, don't create friendships, and at the end of the day, be really clear in your communications, because the clarity and transparency in communications means there's less room for misunderstanding, less reason for people to think they've been forgotten, or there's, they've made a mistake, or whatever the case is. And I think those kind of things will set you up for success. Sometimes you might get lucky and you might end up in a situation where out of the blue you get offered a dream bag for many, many people. And yes, I am absolutely loving this bag, and the fact I had the opportunity to buy it is just crazy to me. But they're my top tips. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you have any other tips that you would like to add in the comment section, please do so. I think it's always good for people to hear about what's worked for you in the past. And if you have any contrarian opinions to what I've said, also pop those in the comments below. Everything I speak about here is just from my own experience, and that's all I can really talk to, isn't it? So if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'd love to see you back here. I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays, and sometimes some extras. So until the next one, ciao.